The War Council chamber felt far too enormous for someone who desperately wished to disappear. Captain Ryan Thorne stood alone on the polished obsidian floor, surrounded by towering alien nobles in ceremonial armor that gleamed like captured starlight. Their long, elegant ears twitched in disapproval, annoyance, or possibly fear. He had never been good at reading alien expressions, but even Ryan could tell they all wanted to be anywhere but here. Queen Valoris's booming voice echoed through the dome, shaking dust loose from the banners of 40 victorious campaigns. "Is there truly no one?" she roared. "No warrior of noble blood willing to give my kingdom strong grandchildren?" Every alien in the chamber took a synchronized step back. Some even took two. One commander pretended to suddenly find his shoelaces fascinating, despite not wearing shoes. Ryan unfortunately stepped forward, mostly because he tripped on the hem of his uniform and reflexively tried to catch himself. The entire hall gasped as if he had declared war on physics. Dozens of luminous eyes snapped toward him. A noblewoman whispered, "The human? The tiny one?" Ryan cleared his throat. "Well, I mean, someone should probably volunteer, right?" Silence. Thick, suffocating silence. He wished a wormhole would open beneath him and politely swallow him whole. Queen Valoris's golden hair glowed like molten sunlight as she studied him. Her long ears tilted with a predatory precision that suggested she was assessing whether he would snap in half during a light breeze. "A human," she said slowly, "steps forward when my own warriors flee?" Ryan considered explaining that he hadn't intended to volunteer, but that felt like a terrible opening line. So he did what humans historically did in strange situations. He smiled awkwardly and hoped no one killed him. "Yes, Your Majesty. I served under Princess Zephyra on Kyros. She saved me and my platoon. I owe her." The Queen arched one elegant brow. "Owe her?" Ryan's courage wavered. "Well, yes, and also, I'd rather not watch her go through 20 more suitors. She looked one rejection away from punching a hole through the moon." A few nobles snorted despite themselves. The Queen's lips twitched, almost imperceptibly. "Follow me," she commanded, turning toward the massive temple doors at the back of the hall. The temple loomed like a slumbering creature, its bioluminescent tendrils pulsing faintly along the walls. Ryan swallowed. "Is this the part where I regret everything?" "Most likely," a guard replied, utterly deadpan. As the doors opened, Princess Zephyra appeared in her ceremonial armor, silver eyes striking against her pale white skin. Her long ears angled sharply when she saw him. "Ryan," she said, sounding somewhere between confused and horrified. "What are you doing?" "Volunteering," he said, trying to stand tall. "Or accidentally volunteering. It's complicated." Her expression softened, though her voice remained stern. "You know what the ritual demands?" "Well," Ryan replied, "I figured if anyone is going to dissolve me into glowing dust, it might as well be someone I respect." She stared at him. "That is not comforting." "Didn't think it would be." The Queen gestured toward the temple. "The ritual will determine if your nervous systems can merge. If compatible, his humanity will adjust." "Adjust?" Ryan echoed. "That sounds harmless." "It is not," Zephyr said flatly. "Most do not survive it." Ryan nodded slowly. "Right. Encouraging." Zephyr stepped closer, her voice quiet now. "You don't have to do this." Ryan shrugged, offering a crooked grin. "Everyone else stepped back. If I step back too, you'd tease me about it for the rest of my life." Her silver eyes widened. "You believe you will have a life after this?" "Optimism is free," he said. "Humans use it to cope with imminent doom." The corner of her mouth lifted, barely, but it was enough to steady him. Together they crossed the threshold into the temple. Bioluminescent patterns rippled across the living walls, reacting to their presence with eerie curiosity. Ryan whispered, "If this place starts talking, I'm leaving." The walls pulsed. "I think it likes you," Zephyra murmured. "Fantastic," he grumbled. "I've always wanted to impress architecture." She stopped in front of the ritual chamber, removing her helmet, her long ears lowered with seriousness. "Ryan, once this begins, there is no walking away. Our minds will be bound. Whatever the temple reveals, whatever it reshapes, there is no undoing it." Ryan met her gaze, surprised by the vulnerability beneath her hardened exterior. "Zephyra," he said softly, "I knew there wouldn't be a way back the moment you stepped between me and a plasma cannon on Kyros. This isn't the worst thing you've dragged me into." "It was not my intention," she murmured. "Good," he said, "because if you'd intended it, I'd be terrified." Despite herself, she laughed. a small fragile sound that made the glowing chamber feel warmer. Ryan exhaled slowly, facing the heart of the ritual. "All right," he said. "Let's see if I survive becoming half alien." "If you die," she warned gently, "I will be very angry." "I'll try to avoid that." Together they stepped into the pulsing light. The temple awakened. The ritual began. The chamber swallowed them in a cocoon of shifting light, its walls layered with living circuitry that pulsed like veins beneath translucent skin. Ryan had never stood inside something that felt suspiciously alive, and he tried not to think about the possibility that the temple could sneeze, or burp, or decide he wasn't worth the biological investment and spit him back into the hallway. Zafara walked with slow, deliberate steps, her armor catching waves of blue and violet light. Her long ears adjusted constantly, forward when alert, back when worried, twitching when irritated. Right now they formed the perfect angle of deep concern, which Ryan found both intimidating and strangely comforting. "The temple recognizes you," she said quietly. "It is curious. Humans don't usually trigger such a strong response." "Happy to be interesting," Ryan muttered as a tendril of glowing mist floated toward his shoulder, like a sniffing pet. "I just hope it's curiosity and not, hunger." The mist retreated. Zafara raised a brow. "I do not believe the temple consumes volunteers. Not believing isn't the same as being sure." She hid a small smile and continued forward until they reached a spiraling platform of smooth organic metal. It resembled a coiled shell, glowing faintly with energy and humming softly like a creature dreaming. "This is the node of convergence," Zafara explained. "Here, the temple examines the minds of two candidates. It judges if a merging will produce strong heirs or destroy both participants." Ryan eyed the glowing node. "So, like cosmic couples therapy, but lethal." "That is a generous interpretation," she said. "I prefer honesty." "I'm regretting asking already." She stepped onto the node first, placing her hands on two shapes that formed as she approached. Imprints perfectly molded for alien palms. When Ryan stepped up beside her, the node shifted again, forming smaller, rounder shapes for him. "Okay, that's creepy," he murmured. "It is adaptive bioarchitecture engineered by ancient genetic artisans," she corrected. "Still creepy," he insisted. The moment they both placed their hands down, the platform awakened. A deep vibration rippled through their bones. Lines of light spiraled upward, weaving into towers of data and memory. Ryan's vision blurred as images flickered around them. Zafara's memories, sharp as crystal. He saw her childhood training, her mother's approval delivered sparingly, her relentless discipline carved into her bones. He saw her pilot's exams, her battles in orbit, the crushing weight of expectations. And then he saw Kiros, his platoon wounded, surrounded, their bunker collapsing. He watched Zafara fight through smoke and fire to reach them, her sword slicing through an ambush as if she'd been carved from light itself. He saw her drag him to safety despite her bleeding leg. Zafara went rigid beside him as the memory flashed, her ears flattening slightly with embarrassment. "The temple is being dramatic," she muttered. "It doesn't need to show every detail." "It showed me crying," Ryan said. "I vote we skip ahead." "You were not crying," she argued. "Your eyes were leaking from smoke exposure." "That's a heroic interpretation," Ryan joked. The temple shifted again, pulling Ryan's memories to the surface now. Zafara stiffened as scenes unfolded. Ryan arguing with a malfunctioning door panel, and Ryan accidentally insulting a high-ranking alien diplomat by mispronouncing her name. Ryan saluting the wrong general for an entire hour before anyone corrected him. "This is unacceptable," Zafara murmured, fighting a laugh. "Why does your mind store humiliation so vividly?" "Because humans evolved for comedy," Ryan said through clenched teeth. "Apparently at my expense." Then came the quieter memories. His fear of failure, his guilt over soldiers he couldn't save, his admiration for Zafara that had grown into something he never dared name. Zafara's breath caught. "Ryan," she whispered. The temple suddenly flared with golden light, reacting to the emotional frequency between them. Energy wrapped around their hands, weaving filaments of neural connection like vines of light. Ryan winced as the world tilted. "Okay," he gasped. "Just to clarify, this isn't normal, right?" "No," Zafara said softly. "This is far stronger than any pairing I have witnessed." "Great," he groaned. "Either we're very compatible or the temple is preparing to explode." "The temple does not explode." "Good, because I'm not licensed to participate in high-risk architectural detonation rituals." "That is not a real license." "It should be." A sudden surge cut through their bodies. Warm, luminous, terrifying. Ryan stumbled, but Zafara grabbed his forearm, steadying him with strong, steady hands. Their minds brushed together for the first time, a flash of shared sensation so intimate, he nearly forgot to breathe. Zephyra's thoughts flickered, organized, fierce, tinged with a fear she never showed aloud. His thoughts flickered back, chaotic, hopeful, lined with humor and quiet admiration. The connection pulsed. Something ancient stirred. The note of convergence projected a burst of light that filled the chamber with spiraling patterns, forming symbols neither of them recognized. "What's happening?" Ryan whispered. "The temple is excited," Zephyra said, sounding genuinely unsettled. "It finds our compatibility unusual, possibly unprecedented. Let's hope it stays excited and not disappointed." "Ryan," she said, voice softer now, "if this continues, the temple will begin the deeper merging. You may feel pain." "Define may." "You will feel pain." "Great." The temple hummed louder, enveloping them completely. Ryan took a shaky breath. "If I survive this," he said, "you owe me dinner." "If you survive this," Zafara replied, "I will buy you an entire starship." The merging beams surged. Their minds collided. The ritual truly began. The moment their minds collided, the world shattered into threads of light. Ryan felt himself pulled through a vortex of memories, sensations, and half-formed thoughts, all tangled together like a storm trying to reorganize itself into something meaningful. The temple's energy wrapped around them, pressing, probing, weaving. He wondered briefly if this was how socks felt inside a malfunctioning dryer. Zephyra's presence flickered beside him, sometimes a voice, sometimes a sensation, sometimes a sharp jolt of disapproval whenever he tried to make a joke in the middle of psychic turbulence. Her long ears, now a memory projected into the psychic space, twitched each time his thoughts lost focus. "Ryan," her voice echoed through the luminous storm, "center your mind." "I'm trying," he thought back, though it came out more like a mental yelp. "But the temple is rearranging my memories alphabetically." "Your memories are not stored alphabetically," she said, a hint of amusement threading through her disciplined mental tone. "They feel alphabetized." The temple reacted to their interaction, spiraling them into a chamber of pure consciousness, a floating platform where thoughts manifested as shapes. Zafara stood before him, though not physically, more like an imprint of her mind. She looked the same, yet impossibly radiant, her long ears haloed with shimmering streams of data. It didn't seem fair that she looked ethereal while he resembled a human scribble drawn by a nervous child. "This is the trial of alignment," she explained. "The temple will determine whether our nervous systems can synchronize. If our minds reject one another, the merging stops, and we are ejected from the ritual." "Ejected how?" "Painfully. I hate that all your explanations end with that word." The platform shifted beneath them, splitting into two swirling halves, one glowing silver, the other a soft, human blue. Ryan felt himself pulled toward the blue side, Zephyra toward the silver. "We must cross," she said. "Your mind must enter my world, and mine must enter yours. Can't we just do a handshake and call it a day?" Zafara gave him a look even here, inside a psychic storm. "Cross," she insisted. Ryan stepped into the silver sphere, bracing for some terrifying alien onslaught of discipline and war memories. Instead, he was met with order. Perfect order. Structures of thought arranged like star systems, memories categorized and indexed with frightening efficiency. There were emotional cores glowing like hidden stars, each one guarded, each one steady. He touched one and instantly felt Zephyra's exhaustion from carrying the hopes of an entire kingdom. He touched another and felt her loneliness during her cadet years, surrounded by thousands yet seen by no one. The last one he touched nearly broke him, the moment she knelt beside his wounded platoon, believing she would die protecting strangers she'd met only hours before. "You feel too much," her voice whispered. "You always have." "And you don't let yourself feel enough," he replied softly. She stepped into his side and he winced. His mental landscape was chaotic. Memories stacked sideways, humor stitched into trauma, thoughts wandering off to irrelevant corners. Zafara stared at the floating memory of him, saluting the wrong general. "Ryan," she said slowly, "your mind is disorganized. I call it creative. It is chaos. Chaos builds character. Your mind is a swarm of startled insects. Thank you, I guess." But she moved through it slowly, carefully, touching each memory with a tenderness he felt across the link. When she touched his guilt, the losses he carried on Kairos, her expression softened. "You carried this alone," she murmured. "Because everyone else had enough to carry already," he said. She paused, long ears drooping slightly. "You hide pain behind humor. You hide emotions behind duty." The temple pulsed, reacting to the merging of their truths. Their shared platform fused back together, silver and blue intertwining until the colors became one. Energy crackled as the temple began the deeper merging phase. "This is it," Zephyr said. "The point of no return." "I thought that was when I accidentally volunteered." "Ryan." "Sorry, nerves." Tendrils of light reached from the walls, wrapping their minds in a lattice of bioelectric code. Ryan felt something foreign slip into his consciousness. An alien rhythm, Zephyr's mental cadence intertwining with his. It was warm, sharp, disciplined. He simultaneously felt her fear. Fear not of the ritual, but of losing him to it. "You're worried about me," he said. "I am concerned," she corrected, "which is worry wearing armor." She didn't deny it. The merging pulse intensified. Ryan cried out as a jolt shot through him, but Zephyra seized his hand. Physically, mentally, he wasn't sure anymore. Her voice cut through the pain. "Stay with me." He clung to the sound of her, to her stubbornness, her fire, her impossible warmth beneath all that controlled exterior. The temple roared with energy, their minds aligned, their thoughts threaded together like two galaxies colliding until each star found a new orbit. Then, silence. A vast, breathless silence. Ryan opened his eyes both inside and outside the link and felt her presence settled within him like a new heartbeat. Zephyr's voice whispered across the bond, steady but shaken. "The temple has accepted us." Ryan exhaled shakily. "Great. Does that mean we're compatible?" "More than compatible," she said. "Our minds matched in ways the temple did not expect." "So we passed?" "We passed the first half," Ryan groaned. "There's a second half?" "Yeah," she said, squeezing his hand. "The physical merging." "Of course there is." The temple pulsed ominously, preparing. And Ryan knew whatever came next would make this trial look like a warm-up. The temple's glow thickened into something almost tangible. A luminous fog that coiled around Ryan's body like warm vines preparing to drag him somewhere he definitely didn't want to go. He tried not to panic, mostly because panicking seemed like the kind of thing that would make the temple offended. And the temple already had too much control over his biology for him to risk that kind of relationship drama. Zephyra stood beside him, her posture firm, her long ears angled forward with determination. She looked every bit the warrior princess, calm, focused, terrifyingly competent. Meanwhile, Ryan felt like a toaster someone had plugged into alien electricity. "So," he said weakly, "this next part, the physical merging. Define physical?" "Your nervous system will begin adapting," she said. "Your body will adjust to accommodate the neural bonding architecture required for piloting a living warship and producing heirs that can survive the process." "Adjust?" he repeated. "Do you mean mildly or alien-level adjust? Because those are very different." She hesitated, which was never a good sign. "Alien level. Fantastic." The floor beneath them rippled like liquid metal, forming a circular pattern etched with glowing symbols. The air buzzed as if charged with the breath of some ancient machine. Ryan's hair lifted from his scalp in response to rising static. "If I explode," he murmured, "tell people it looked heroic." "Humans do not explode," Zephyrah said, "at least not during this ritual." Comforting as always. The temple's core lit up with a sudden surge of gold, and a beam of soft energy descended, wrapping around them both. Ryan felt a prickling sensation along his spine, subtle at first, then sharper, like someone was unrolling a glowing blueprint inside him. He stumbled, and Zephyrah caught him swiftly, her grip strong. "Breathe," she instructed. "Easy. Let the temple guide you." "The temple is guiding me like a drunk uncle guides a wedding dance," he complained, unpredictably and with questionable motives. "Ryan," she said firmly, "focus on me." He did. Her presence anchored him, even as warmth surged through him in waves so intense he nearly buckled. His nerves tingled, his muscles tightened, his vision flickered. Colors deepened, sounds sharpened. He could hear Zephyr's heartbeat, fast, steady, powerful, like a drum leading an ancient army. Then he heard his own heartbeat responding, syncing with hers in a gradual rhythm shift that sent a tremor through his entire body. "Okay," he gasped. That's new." Synchronization of vitals is expected, she said. The temple is aligning our bioelectrical fields. I only understood 3 of those words. Then focus on breathing. The next surge hit, deeper, heavier. It felt like someone poured molten starlight into his bones. Ryan dropped to one knee, gripping the floor. Nope, nope, nope. This is worse than basic training, he groaned. Do not fight it, Zephyr urged, kneeling beside him. If you resist, it becomes more intense. Trust me, he said through clenched teeth. I'm way past resisting. I'm in full surrender mode. The temple pulsed softly, almost as if amused. Ryan was too busy trying not to fall apart to be offended. A tendril of shimmering energy rose from the floor and touched the back of his neck. A bolt of fire shot down his spine, stealing his breath. Zephyr immediately grabbed his shoulders. Stay with me. I'm trying, he gasped, but your magic space temple is rearranging my skeleton. It is not rearranging your skeleton, she said. Just your neural pathways. That is not better. She tightened her grip. For the first time, he felt her fear spike through the link, a tightly coiled panic she struggled to hide. She didn't want him to die. That truth, raw and startling, gave him strength he didn't know he had. The temple's energy wrapped around them both, twining their nervous systems in shimmering strands of living code. Ryan felt Zafara's presence inside him. Not invasive, not overwhelming, but steady, fierce, protective. He clung to her like a lifeline. The pain crested, sharp, blinding, tidal, then softened into a spreading warmth that filled his chest. His body began to adapt, the alien architecture settling into place with surprising elegance. Zafara leaned close, her forehead touching his. You're doing well, she whispered. Better than any candidate I have ever seen. That's because I'm stubborn, he said weakly. Humans are famous for bad decisions and perseverance. You are not dying, she said firmly. I would know. He let out a fragile laugh. Good. Because if I died, you'd be stuck explaining it to your mother. I would simply tell her the ritual malfunctioned. Wow, cold. Honest, she corrected, though her long ears tilted in amusement. Gradually the temple's energy dimmed. The pressure eased. Ryan's muscles stopped trembling. For the first time since stepping inside the node of convergence, he felt like he could breathe without borrowing courage. Zephyra helped him stand, her hands lingering at his waist, as though afraid he might collapse again. You endured the first stage of physical merging, she said. The most painful part is over. Great, he said, swaying slightly. Which means the next part is stability testing, she answered, to ensure your new neural pathways do not destabilize. And how painful is that? She considered. Less painful. Define less. You will not scream. Wonderful. What an upgrade. Zephyra smiled softly. Rare, real, and disarming. You survived, Ryan. Barely, he muttered. And I'd like to file a complaint with your ancestors. I will provide you the forms. The temple lights flickered gently, signaling the next phase. Ryan took a steadying breath. His body felt different now. Not alien, not entirely human, but something balanced between. Something new. And whatever came next, he knew 2 things for certain. He wasn't alone. And he definitely deserved that starship she promised. The chamber shifted again, its light dimming into a soft twilight glow as the temple prepared the next phase. Ryan stood in the center of the platform, breathing slowly, trying to understand the subtle strangeness now humming beneath his skin. It wasn't painful anymore, just different. Like someone had quietly installed alien software in his body while he wasn't looking and now expected him to read the terms and conditions. Zafara circled him with a healer's focus, her long ears angled forward as she observed every twitch, breath, and blink. How do you feel? She asked. Like I've been microwaved, Ryan said, but in a majestic, sacred sort of way. Microwaved? It's a human cooking device, warms leftovers, explodes eggs. She stared. Your species is reckless. We know. The temple floor rippled, forming a series of glowing pathways that branched outward like neural circuits. Zafara gestured. This is the stability test. You must walk the paths. If your body accepts the merging, the paths will remain solid. If not, let me guess, he said. I fall into a cosmic abyss? No, she replied calmly. You receive an electrical shock strong enough to paralyze you. Ah, much better. The first path ignited beneath his feet, humming with a faint blue light. Ryan stepped forward cautiously. The floor felt solid, reassuring. A warm pulse traveled up his leg, then through his spine, syncing with his heart. So far so good, he murmured. Perhaps your adaptation is progressing faster than expected, Zephyra said. Or the temple is tired of you complaining. Hey, my complaining is what keeps me alive. An unusual survival strategy. The second pulse hit, stronger this time. Ryan stumbled, bracing his hands on his knees. Zephyra was beside him in an instant, her hands steady on his shoulder. Breathe. Your neural pathways are aligning with mine again. This is normal. Great, he said between breaths. If this gets any more normal, I'm going to pass out. She tightened her grip. Do not pass out. I'll try to stay conscious, mostly because I don't want to fall and have the temple judge me. The path stabilized beneath him. Ryan straightened and continued walking. Each step triggered a different surge, sometimes warm, sometimes sharp, sometimes like someone tapped his brain with a tuning fork. Zephyra walked beside him, offering corrections or encouragement when needed. Your balance is improving, she noted. Must be the alien software, he muttered. Your new neural architecture, she corrected, though her lips twitched. Sure. Architecture. Very dignified. The third path was longer, stretching toward a swirling pillar of light. As he neared it, Ryan felt Zephyra's presence inside his mind intensify, like her thoughts were brushing against his without meaning to. Are you doing that? He asked. Doing what? Thinking loudly. She blinked. We are in close proximity. Our link is strengthening. I can feel your emotions. Only faintly, she said. It will stabilize once the merging completes. Zephyra, he whispered, slightly alarmed. Your emotions are very bright. She froze for a moment, her long ears arching upward in mortified surprise. The temple must be amplifying the connection. Right, he said. Totally the temple, not you. Ryan. Okay, he sighed. But if the temple suddenly forces us to share childhood memories, I'm not responsible for anything traumatic you witness. I was a weird kid. I already suspected, she said dryly. The path ahead flared. A new surge hit him, sharp, dizzying. But instead of pain, he felt Zephyra's steady presence rushing through the link to stabilize him. Her confidence pressed into him like a warm shield. That's helpful, he murmured. You're helping regulate my system. Your body is learning to rely on the shared network, she said. It is part of the bond. So we're becoming co-pilots? In every sense, she replied softly. They reached the pillar of light. The temple pulsed, then sent a soft wave of energy washing over them both. Ryan didn't fall, didn't scream, didn't even wobble. Instead, his body absorbed the surge like it belonged there. Zephyra exhaled slowly, the closest thing to relief she'd shown since the ritual began. You are stable, she said. The merging succeeded. Ryan blinked. Already? Yes, she said. You endured the most dangerous phase. Now comes the final adjustment. Define adjustment. Mild disorientation. Heightened senses. Occasional intrusive thoughts. Intrusive whose thoughts? She avoided his gaze. Possibly mine. Great, he groaned. Just what every human wants. Telepathic pop-ups. It is temporary, she said a little too quickly. Mostly. He gave her a look. Mostly. Ryan, she sighed. You survived. Worry about the rest later. The temple emitted a soft chime, signaling completion. The lights dimmed, settling into a peaceful glow. Zephyra stepped closer, studying his face with a mixture of awe and disbelief. Emotions she rarely allowed herself. Your physiology has changed, she murmured. Your eyes. They reflect light differently now. Alien upgrade? A necessary one, she said. Our future heirs must inherit both our strengths. Right, he said quietly. Heirs. Her long ears lowered slightly. Does that frighten you? Everything frightens me, he admitted, but not that. For the first time, her expression softened into something gentle, almost vulnerable. The moment lingered just long enough for the temple to interrupt it with an enthusiastic pulse of light, as if reminding them it was still watching. Ryan groaned. Can your ancestors give us 5 minutes of privacy? No, she said. They are very nosy. He grinned despite himself. And as they stepped off the glowing paths, Ryan realized something extraordinary. He no longer felt like a visitor in the temple. The place recognized him now, accepted him, and somewhere deep in the bioluminescent architecture, an ancient intelligence whispered approval. The merging was not just complete, it was unprecedented. And whatever waited outside those doors, he sensed his life was about to become very, very complicated. The temple's last wave of energy faded into a soft, luminescent glow, and Ryan stood there in the silence that followed, if it could even be called silence. Beneath his skin, something hummed quietly, like distant machinery running on a frequency only he could hear. His senses felt sharpened, stretched outward in subtle ways he couldn't fully understand. Every pulse of the temple, every shift of air, even Zephyra's heartbeat. He sensed them all as if woven into the same network. He blinked slowly, trying to ground himself, but the world felt both familiar and entirely new. Zephyra stepped closer, her long ears tilting as she searched his face. "Your neural signature has settled," she said softly. "You are different." "Different how?" he asked cautiously. "In a good way, or in a Ryan might accidentally develop laser vision way?" "Your pupils have a faint bioluminescent sheen," she said, "and your neural energy output has doubled. So laser vision is still possible." "That is not how eyes work." "We don't know that," he said. "My biology is a joint custody arrangement now." She gave him a look that was somewhere between affectionate and exasperated. Before she could respond, a panel in the far wall shifted open with a gentle hiss. Ryan nearly jumped. "Was that supposed to happen?" "The temple has approved your merging," Zephyr said. "It is offering you the renewal chamber." "Renewal?" "A place to rest and allow your body to acclimate. Your new senses may overwhelm you if we leave immediately." "I'm already overwhelmed," he admitted. "Does the chamber come with a user manual?" "I will guide you," she said, stepping toward the opening. Ryan followed, though his feet seemed to move with unusual precision, like someone had quietly upgraded his coordination while he was busy screaming earlier. Inside the renewal chamber, the walls glowed with softer tones, swirling with faint patterns that felt soothing. He didn't know why, but the designs made his mind settle, like the temple was singing a lullaby he wasn't supposed to understand. At the center lay a gently curved platform shaped to cradle a body. Zephyra motioned toward it. "Sit. Slowly." "If I break this thing," he said, "you tell your ancestors it was already cracked." "It is alive," she said. "You cannot break it." "You say that," Ryan said, "but my track record with alien tech is questionable." He eased himself down anyway. The moment he touched the surface, warmth enveloped him. Not hot, soft, comforting warmth, like lying under sunlight filtered through alien clouds. Zephyra placed her hand on the platform beside him. "Close your eyes." "Why?" "Your mind is loud." "Hey, that's rude." "It is echoing through the link," she said patiently. "You are thinking about 17 things at once." "That's just normal for me." "I know." She guided him through slow breathing. He followed her rhythm. Inhale, steady, exhale. His thoughts gradually untangled. The hum under his skin softened. No longer a wild vibration, but a steady pulse. He opened one eye. "Still glowing?" "Only a little," she said, though her ears twitched in amusement. "Your body is adapting faster than expected." "Is that good?" "It is extraordinary," she said. "No human has ever withstood the merging at this depth. The temple chose well." "Chose me?" he echoed. "I thought I kind of tripped my way into volunteering." "The temple reads potential," she said. "It saw something in you." "Great," he muttered. "Even ancient alien architecture has higher expectations for me than my high school teachers did." The chamber hummed gently, resonating with his breath. The warmth worked deeper, aligning nerves, relaxing tension he hadn't even realized he carried. And with the relaxation came something else. Awareness through the bond. Emotions. Faint colors. Echoes of thoughts like soft taps against glass. Zephyra's presence expanded in his mind again, gentle and steady. This time it didn't frighten him. He felt her calm, her relief, her lingering fear from nearly losing him. He also felt something else. Something warm and quiet she never admitted aloud. "Zephyra," he whispered, opening his eyes. She stood beside him, watching him intently. "Yes?" "You're worried about me again." Her expression didn't change, but her ears tilted downward. A sign he'd learned meant vulnerability. "Your condition is unique," she said. "Your physiology may shift again in the next hour, or tomorrow, or next month. I cannot predict the full extent. But I'll be okay," he said. "Right?" "You are strong," she said. "And stubborn. And infuriating." "Those feel like compliments." "They are not." His eyelids grew heavier, the platform lulling him into an unfamiliar ease. He wasn't sleepy, just balanced, settled. The humming inside him faded into a whisper. Zephyra sat beside him, her armor softly clinking as she folded her legs. "When you awaken," she said, "we will leave the temple together. There will be questions. Many of them. Let me guess, he said drowsily. Mostly from your mother. The Queen will want proof of your survival and of our compatibility. I'll try not to glow in a threatening way. Please do not glow at all. His laugh was half asleep. No promises. The warmth deepened into something comforting, and Ryan felt himself drift, not into unconsciousness, but into a peaceful stillness. The chamber wrapped around him like gentle hands. His new neural pathways opened slightly, and for a brief moment he felt Zephyra's emotions not as individual notes, but as a single, steady light. Strong, focused, protective, and beneath it, something careful and quietly hopeful. Zephyra, he murmured, barely audible. I'm not afraid. Her hand rested lightly on his forearm. Good, she whispered. Then neither am I. The renewal chamber dimmed. Ryan descended into a strange, luminous calm. His first rest as something not fully human, not fully alien, but undeniably linked to her. And somewhere deep in the temple's living walls, an ancient heartbeat echoed, welcoming him into a future he could barely imagine. When Ryan awoke, the renewal chamber's glow had softened into a gentle, dawn-like shimmer, as if the temple itself were stretching its ancient limbs after a long night. His body felt strangely light, as though the invisible weight he'd always carried, fear, doubt, exhaustion, had been quietly lifted by unseen hands. He sat up slowly, half expecting dizziness, but instead found his movements smooth and precise, like he had been quietly recalibrated during sleep. Saphira stood a few steps away, her armor restored, her long ears angled toward him the moment he stirred. Relief flickered through the bond, subtle, warm, quickly hidden but impossible for her to mask completely now. You are awake, she said, tone composed even if her emotions were not. Barely, Ryan said. If you told me this was a Monday morning, I'd believe you. I do not know what a Monday is, she replied, but it sounds unpleasant. Deeply. He slid off the platform. His feet landed with unexpected certainty, his balance instinctual, seamless. Okay, he muttered. I'm definitely upgraded. Enhanced, she corrected. Your neural integration has stabilized. You are fully merged. So, no more fear of exploding? No, she said. That phase is past. Good, he sighed, because I wasn't emotionally prepared to explode today. Saphira stepped closer, studying him with a blend of professional scrutiny and quiet something else he felt more clearly now, through their shared link. How do you feel? Different, he admitted. But good different. Like, I fit here now, in this place, with you. That last part slipped out before he could catch it, but Saphira didn't flinch. Her long ears lowered slightly, and warmth fluttered through the bond like a spark. We should go, she said softly. My mother will want to see the results. Right, Ryan said, taking a steadying breath. Let's go show the Queen I survived her murder temple. It was not designed as a murder temple. It tried very hard to be one. They left the renewal chamber, the temple walls pulsing gently as if bidding Ryan farewell. The massive doors opened automatically, revealing the Grand Council Hall, in the sea of nobles waiting in stunned silence. The moment Ryan stepped out beside Zephyra, a ripple passed through the crowd. Warriors who had taken 2 steps back earlier now took 2 steps even farther. Queen Valoris rose from her throne, golden hair radiant, presence commanding enough to silence even the most arrogant of nobles. Her eyes, sharp, assessing, piercing, locked onto Ryan first. He stiffened instinctively. Zephyra stepped half a pace in front of him, protective without appearing so. He survived, she announced. The merging was successful. The Queen approached slowly, her expression unreadable. Ryan resisted the urge to salute and hoped he didn't glow awkwardly under pressure. Human, Valoris said, circling him the way one might inspect unusual alien cargo. You look... She paused, surprised. Alive. Trying my best, Your Majesty, Ryan said. As you can see. She narrowed her eyes. Do you feel pain? Disorientation? Sudden urges to faint or collapse? Only socially, he said. But that's normal for humans. Someone in the crowd choked on a laugh. The Queen raised a brow, impressed despite herself. Zephyra, she said, turning to her daughter. Your assessment? Zephyra didn't hesitate. His physiology is stable. His neural output is stronger than any candidate we have tested. The temple judged him exceptionally compatible. The Queen studied Ryan again, slower this time, her gaze no longer predatory, but genuinely curious. Your body carries traces of the ancient bond architecture, she said. An honor reserved for the strongest consorts of our bloodline. No pressure, Ryan muttered. Zafara's hand brushed his arm, a silent, unspoken reassurance that he felt more than saw. The queen gestured for silence from the murmuring hall. Then this is decided, she declared. My kingdom will have strong heirs. The warships will have pilots. The bloodline will endure. She paused, then added, surprising everyone. And perhaps my daughter will have someone who can finally keep up with her. Zephyra's ears flared in pure mortification. Ryan grinned. I'll try. The queen stepped back, her tone softening by a fraction. Human, Ryan Thorne, you have proven courage, endurance, and foolishness in equal measure. These traits will serve our house well. Ryan blinked. Was that a compliment? Possibly. Terrifying. The queen returned to her throne, signaling the end of formal judgment. Nobles whispered among themselves, some astonished, some impressed, some simply relieved they hadn't volunteered. As the crowd dispersed, Ryan exhaled deeply. Well, he said, that could have gone worse. She accepted you, Zafar said quietly. That is rare, very rare. How rare? A comet with perfect timing rare. Ryan chuckled, rubbing the back of his neck. Guess we're stuck with each other now, he teased. Zephyr met his gaze, her silver eyes steady, unguarded for once. Through the bond, he felt her emotions clearly. Calm, warmth, a quiet affection she had no reason to hide now. We are not stuck, she said softly. We chose this. Ryan's chest tightened. Yeah, he murmured. We did. She stepped closer, long ears tilting toward him in a gesture he finally understood as something intimate among her people. The future will be difficult, she said. The kingdom is preparing for war. Our bond will be tested. Then we face it together, Ryan said. Whatever comes. Her eyes softened. Together. The temple behind them pulsed one final time, sealing the bond not just as a merging of minds, but as a promise. Ryan had come into this hall as an outsider, a human among giants, a soldier who tripped into danger. But now, he walked beside a princess whose life he had changed, and who had changed his in return. He felt stronger, steadier, certain. The journey had reshaped him, body and soul, and for the first time in a long time, he felt like he belonged somewhere, with someone. As they left the council hall side by side, Zephyra glanced at him, her voice low. You still owe me a starship. And dinner, he reminded her. Do not push your luck. Too late, he said, smiling. She rolled her eyes but didn't pull away. And as they stepped into the light of a new future, bonded, changed, ready, Ryan realized he wasn't afraid anymore. Not of temples, not of queens, not of destiny, because he wasn't facing any of it alone.